Hello, welcome, Futurama Xmas episodes, blah blah, they're a mixed bag, blah blah, to the rankings.
I suppose there could be a minute quantity of petroleum left, but it would be insanely deep within the Earth, at pressures so dangerously high that...
Let's go already!
To those that have seen my top 3 worst Futurama episodes video, then it should come as no surprise to you that this is last, as this twas the only Christmas episode on that list. The episode starts really promisingly with a Christmassy song about Christmas trees involving Santa and our group. The highlight of the episode for me is easily the guy denying there could be any chance of contamination.
Oh, that's the germ warfare repository.
It's so close. Is there any chance of cross-contamination?
No.
I like how we get to see more from Quanzabot, a character that can only show up very occasionally on the show. Like Santa, except Santa harasses and tries to kill everyone, and Quanzabot just seems really calm and nice. I also like how we get to see more from Hermes and his family. Hermes in the earlier seasons was really shoved to the side, and while that's still the case after Rebirth, he does get more episodes based around him. And honestly, other than Utopia, they are highlights of the later seasons for me, even if I found his story here a little dull. This episode isn't bad by any means, it just feels like the segments get cut off just before they reach their peak of interestingness. I'd like to know how Bender lives in an apocalyptic world, I'd like to know how the trees affected the universe, and I always want to know more about the space bees and see more from the Queen. I just feel like despite the episode being creative, what they actually came up with was a bit disappointing. Yeah, they were creative, but they just didn't feel ambitious like other trilogy style episodes. The second segment wasn't particularly ambitious, but it did show us Robonica, and for that, I appreciate it the most.
Oh yeah, you filthy hobos sure know how to live. Hey, Chief, someone's stealing your handkerchief full of crap.
The first Christmas episode Futurama made. Despite being in Season 2, Fry still hadn't experienced an Xmas. This is him experiencing his first future Xmas, and the others experiencing what they always do. There's a murderous robot Santa Claus, voiced by the always amazing John Goodman. Leela is lonely due to having no family at this time in the series, and Fry spends most of his time trying to cheer her up, though in real time, most of his time would have been spent buying and then trying to catch a bird. Speaking of Bender, he and a group of robots he met in a soup kitchen are out singing carols for eggnog. The highlight of the episode is definitely them going into Hattie McDougal's house and drinking everything she has and then proceeding to rob her.
I said that's enough!
Get her purse!
That isn't quite everything though, as we get a few moments with the rest of the group, though we mostly get those moments when Fry, Leela or Bender are around, which I think is a good decision as there's no real conflict in the group. I do find it quite interesting that even at this point, Hermes would even get Zoidberg a gift. Santa bursting down the chimney and the group being saved only by Zoidberg, the character everyone bullies, and the only creature that we're aware of that Santa considers good list material, is a brilliant moment, though Zoidy Boy won't be on that good list anymore. Funny how Santa's one act of kindness screwed him. John Goodman as Santa is good, but I've just always liked his voice.
Isn't it true that you have been paid for your testimony?
Yes, you gave me $1 and some candy.
And yet you haven't said what I told you to say. How can any of us trust you?
I know some people will be disappointed that John Goodman doesn't reprise his role as Robot Santa, but it doesn't bother me too much. I feel like it would have bothered me more if he was in multiple episodes and then cut out, but with him just being in one before being cut, it isn't a massive deal to me. It still irks me a little, sure, but any voice change that isn't connected to growth or a character aging tends to irk me a little, and this definitely isn't the worst case. Plus, shocker, I actually think John DiMaggio is better at being menacing as Robot Santa. While Xmas was certainly a good episode, this cuts down the Fry and Leela stuff and replaces it with Bender stuff containing gag after gag of hilarity. The whole concept of Bender trying to be good to people despite, you know, hating people is a pretty obvious one, but one that needed to happen because of its potential. The Bender thing doesn't get old at any point. Him being hurt because people hate Santa always stays funny. The woman telling her children to take their suicide pills is depressingly hilarious. The best moments for me though are the professor shooting Bender.
How do you plead?
Not Santa!
There he is again!
Especially the one where Leela explains that Santa is Bender, but he forgets. That's one of my favourite moments from the entire show. The aggression under the professor's no is amazing, it's just timed so perfectly.
Professor, don't you remember what I told you?
No!
I don't know what it is about me, but I just seem to love seeing Santa get shot. In cartoons, the elf song at the beginning is pretty good, if a little lackluster considering its length. It doesn't stand out a ridiculous amount, unlike say one of the best songs in the show, Robot Hell, but it seems a bit unfair to compare any song to that. Bender yelling at the elves so the kids don't think he's a jerk is a pretty great moment though. Speaking of the elves, that's one thing the original Xmas episode missed, and seeing them and Santa's village is just so tragically funny. The very end with Bender and Santa enjoying causing chaos is a nice one. Robot Santa may be evil, but he seems to get a redeeming moment in his bigger appearances. He gives Zoidberg the pogo stick in Xmas, he saves Bender's life in this and just gives him a warning about playing Santa, and in Bender's Big Score not only does he not try to kill them at one point, but he works with them to destroy the scammers. He's actually, and take this with a massive grain of salt, a slightly more fleshed out character than you'd think. Anyway, that is all for this video guys. Opinions and comments, you know the drill. Until next time, Merry Christmas, and I'd say Happy Holidays, but this is a Christmas video. Ah hell, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and bye I guess. Does saying Happy Holidays make it so I'm not a bigot?